Okay, folks, so this week's course is Hidden Creek Golf Course. It's at your country club, and it is in Reston, Virginia, just west of Baron Cameron Park, just west of Wheelie Avenue, and east of, I guess it's Fairfax County Parkway, not far from Reston National, and around the corner from Reston National. There's a thing about this part of Northern Virginia that there are a lot of golf courses in this part of Northern Virginia, west of DC, really west of the Beltway, but southeast of Leesburg. And what I found is that there's so many damn golf courses in this part of the state, really, that one of the big problems with it is that because of the mixture of houses, the population density, and the number of courses, that it's tough to find a course that's actually outstanding, that's publicly available. You find a lot of courses that are okay. One of the bigger problems with having a golf course that's anywhere near a urban area, and this is really more like urban suburban with a lot of townhouses and smaller single family houses, and unlike say McLean, where you do see a lot of larger borderline McMansions. Sterling, Centerville, this area, this part of Northern Virginia isn't quite so bad in that it has so many, really upscale McMansions and so forth, and a lot of private courses. But there are some still private courses, and Hidden Creek is a private course. But it is not just a golf course. It is a swim club as well, tennis club there. I mean, it is just a fairly well, broadly balanced facility that has, I guess, a more established environment, there in the area near Reston Town Center. And while it is, somewhat private, it's not super exclusive. It's not like it's a gated community. It's not like it's way back in the woods or something like, some places that you might find, near Flagstaff, Arizona or something like that. Let's just say, where you pull off the highway and there's armed guards. I've seen places like that in Shenandoah's off of, I guess it's 81 as you go down from Front Royal. You go down in the Shenandoah's and there are a couple of camps back there, This isn't one of those places. It's not like congressional. It's, there are lots of places that are very seriously guarded and private and so forth. There's places out west of Germantown I can think of like that. This isn't one of those places. It's also not an extremely expensive course or very, I would say, difficult to get on course. I got on the course, let's put it that way. The way I got on the course was by joining a league. I finally decided to make the jump and decided to go join a modest class league, and I did a little research, found that there's a lot of league action going on. A lot of courses have their own leagues. They'll have men's leagues, women's leagues, junior leagues, senior leagues, and so forth. And then there are a lot of, leagues, which are groups that people have started, and they will, mingle, mix at different courses and so forth and so on. And the course that I was playing, the league I was playing in, that was their course for the weekend that I played this course. And unfortunately, one of the problems with joining a league is, where is the next match going to be? Is it going to be, in California? Is it going to be in Arizona? Or is it going to be at some private facility? Or is it going to be some course you've already played 400 times or things like that? So this adds to me another way to look at golf. Let's put it that way. I hadn't really, gotten into competitive golf other than playing with the people that I might be partnered with or paired with or something. But this is more of a structured thing, and so I'm interested in seeing how this works out just from the concept of being in some kind of actual structured league and seeing how it works. So anyway, what is this course like? Now, one of the comments that I heard people make during the round, and I don't necessarily agree with it and I don't disagree with it, and I'll tell you why. They said that this course was a lot like Reston National, and I see in some ways how that's true, but in other ways it's definitely not true. One of the big problems that I thought was a big problem with Reston National was this just absolute abundance of traffic passing by. I mean, I think one of the problems is on some of the holes it actually is on Wheelie Avenue or pretty close to Wheelie Avenue, or Barron Cameron, or one of these major, 3-lane roads. It's actually Sunrise Valley Drive. And it's just really hard to play golf when you've got 3 lanes of traffic going by you at 45, 55 miles an hour. And that was not the case on this course. Hidden Creek, it did have some neighborhood traffic, some small, low-speed neighborhood traffic, but it didn't have any of this, industrial traffic, going by it. And I thought it was pretty nice for that regard, in that it was a very low-key, fairly quiet course. The other thing about it, though, is that it does have a lot of water on the course. There's a lot of, as the name says, Hidden Creek. There's a creek and not quite a marsh, but a lot of small creeks that run through the course. And this is one of the first. I've played a lot of summer golf. I played a lot of golf in the heat and a lot of golf in courses that are wet or borderline wet and so forth. But this is the first time I've ever said, man, there are just too many gnats on this course for me. I came pretty close to quitting, and it was in the middle of the actual round. And, we had the bug spray out. I had my trusty bottle of bug spray out, wiping and everything. And it wasn't really hot. It wasn't really, one of those things where you're sweating all the time. It wasn't that bad. The sun wasn't that bad and everything. It was okay. But the problem is that there were certain parts of the course, you go down, down on this creek or whatever, and they just got to be ridiculous. You just get swarmed. We were sitting there, trying to putt, and we're fanning our arms back and forth, just trying to even see. It's really impossible to putt that you weren't going to get a bug in your mouth or, in your eye or something like that. So you end up just batting the ball towards the hole just to get away from where you were standing, because they just swarm on you. So that was one thing. And then around 5, we started 2:30. So the back 9, we started around 5:30. And around 6, I would say, they started biting. It wasn't just that they were swarming, they were biting. And I was like, ah. But luckily, we moved to a different part of the course. It was a little drier, and it got back to sanity, and we started to, get a little relief from all that. But the course has a good amount of water on it. There's water in places you don't really expect there to be water, and they don't have a standalone course map that's on the golf cart, on the cards, the scorecards, but they do have nice diagrams at every tee box. I mean, so, like the main tee box, the white tees or the blue tees or something. So I think right in front of the blue tee boxes, basically. So since the only tees they had there were blues and whites and reds and then golds for the gentlemen, one of the benefits of playing at an upscale country club course is they don't have a lot of aggressive tee boxes, let's say, or aggressive tee shots. Usually fairly open shots off the tee. The backside definitely a little bit harder than the front, but not, dramatically harder. It wasn't something that's going to make somebody, I would say make most of the players in the country club just back away, from the course. Although it wasn't easy, and it certainly did help if you knew the hole layout before you played the hole, especially in some of the holes where even if you saw the diagram, it still wasn't all that clear exactly what was going on with the hole. So definitely helped a lot to see the hole in some cases before you actually played it. Definitely a number of the holes were nice holes, not too brutal, but challenging in their own way. And I liked the course. I thought it was a decent course. If it wasn't for the bugs, I would have had a great time playing it. It was fun, and I definitely enjoyed the round, and it was a fun experience. I definitely enjoyed the league format. We played best ball. It was nice. We played best ball against other players on other foursomes. So we were 2 best ball, and the other team was, they were playing individuals. So best score. And basically, my partner and I picked the best shot for each shot, and the other 2 guys, they took the best score that each one of them shot playing their own balls. And I've heard some people say that that's actually what best score is, or best ball, and scramble. It's all these different definitions that are mixed up. So I just said, I'll just tell you what I said outright. We were not playing against the other twosome on our foursome. We were playing against the entire league, which was, a mixture of teams and a mixture of formats. We were able to pick your own format, and it was pretty cool. I mean, we had a good time playing. It was nice facilities at this place, really nice. Not the most modern, not really great. I've seen better. I mean, I'm still think Bewley Rock and some of the other places like that were better, but this wasn't bad. And overall, it was a good place. I think if I were going to join a country club or something, something like this would be, I would think decent, not some dingy old, cruddy, and I've seen some really bad clubhouses. Just because it's lockers and shower doesn't mean it's a nice clubhouse, believe me. So this wasn't bad at all, and I definitely think that this course overall would be a B+ course, if more in the sort of B plus minus at the lower end of a B+. Certainly a solid B, certainly a decent course. Even it was only about 800 yards from the blue tees. It didn't really have any back tees, but there was a little bit, a significant difference, 25 to 50 yards maybe between the blue and the white tees. We played from the white tees. And it was a decent challenge of a course. There's no question that this was a decent challenge of a course, especially if you're going to play for score. One other thing, so about the similarity between this course and Reston National. Yes, it has a number of condos in some parts of the course that are similar to the condo style that you see at Reston National, which is the brown, subdued, merging into the natural background kind of place. But it doesn't have the ones where you go down and play and it's like you're in an amphitheater. There's one place in Reston National, but it's almost like you're playing in a park, like a kid's park in front of the apartment building. It has none of that. It has none of the 18th hole that's in the parking lot, where I think one time I saw somebody drive around the green and drive down into the parking lot in their cart. With the green is literally 5 or 10 yards from the parking lot. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have a lot of the nonsense that you see in Reston National. Let's put it that way. The hole that's downhill and then back uphill, and there's this, I don't know what road it is. I know it's not wheelie, but it's one of the roads that like goes around or the east side of the entrance to Reston National. It doesn't have that. It's a more subdued version at worst of Reston National. The greens are fairly large. There's lots of sand. There's good elevation changes. It was actually a pretty decent putting green. There were a lot of the tee shots were, a little bit offline here and there, but they were still fairly wide. There's nothing on this course which is really going to kick your ass, but there are a fair number of holes that are going to make a decent challenge, especially if you are trying to play for score. I think if you're just out there hitting balls, having a good time playing by yourself, it's a modest challenge. But it is a challenge. We definitely, between the two of us, playing best ball, we still had a good challenge on our hands because we found ourselves fairly easy getting to the green and then having to take, 3-4 shots to get in the hole. And we noticed this time and time again that most of our scoring was coming from inside of 50 yards, let's say, okay? Or certainly inside of 100 yards. We very rarely had an approach shot that was more than 100 yards. So if we missed that, we then had to chip on and putt and so forth and so on. And that's where we started racking up strokes. So I can't say that this course is much of a challenge off the tee. It isn't really. You can get on the fairway fairly easily, but you still have to play the rest of the game. And that is where I think pretty much most courses are a challenge once you get on the fairway or out and play. Okay, so it's pretty much the same here with a good amount of verticality, some decent sand traps around the green, some decent elevated greens, nothing super challenging though, and I think appropriately sloped at about 135 from the white and the blues. I wouldn't say any more than 140, and sure enough, the National Course Record Database says it's about 140, 138 from the back tees. So I can't say anything about joining the club. A nice enough balcony, nice enough facilities, dining area, so forth. But without a question, several other courses that have reviewed were better in all of these respects. This was just okay. I think it had overall the problem with it in that if you had been there 10 to 20 years ago, it might have been impressive, but now not so much. Let's put it that way. That's Hidden Creek Country Club in Reston, Virginia, a quite decent B star. Let's say it's just slightly above a B facility and B star course. Not quite a B, it's at the lower edge of the B plus range, but still quite decent and certainly an enjoyable round.